So back on the bus today. Yesterday, my buddy came over. We did 3 dump runs. One run to the dump. We had a tree fall in the backyard, so one run to a nursery to mulch it, and then a bunch of scrap metal taken to the scrapyard. Dropped off about 2,000 pounds worth of metal that I pulled out of the bus, plus metal that I pulled out of the house. Got paid $35 for it, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it probably would have cost me about $200 to dump it. So getting $35 over the paying $180 or $200 or whatever it is, way better. Made my first real mistake on the bus. In the last video I talked about putting the water membrane down, which I have done. But it's a product that I never used before. And like an idiot, I didn't test the way that it worked. I just assumed, since it was a water membrane, that it was going to have some elasticity to it, that it was going to create like a rubberized, waterproof seal. But it actually dries hard, which might not sound like a big deal, but people don't think about thermal expansion, especially in metal. My primary job deals with 3D measurement, and I'm always fighting temperature and expansion of any material that I'm working with. And it's another thing that I see a lot of people with Skoolie builds do that just makes you scratch your head. They'll like put the wood floors in first and then build everything on top of it. Floors need the ability to expand and shrink based off like moisture levels and temperatures and stuff like that. And then you'll see them complaining about their floors buckling or separating and stuff like that. So what's happened is, since it's so hard, the expanding and contracting of the metal, that membrane has cracked in every seam on the bus. So I went and painted each seam with an oil-based paint, which hopefully I got it down deep enough, because I could have created a whole nother problem. If those cracks, if the paint didn't penetrate the cracks well enough, it could potentially create like a little void that, will invite rust if water were to get in there. I'm gonna do the whole floor. I'm gonna paint it again, not with the membrane, but with the oil-based paint over that, so it's like a double layer. So hopefully it's good. Realistically, if it becomes a problem, it's going to be way down the road. So I'm not too worried, but learn from my mistake. If you're going to build one of these, don't put the membrane down. Just use paint. Dog. So yeah. So I got some, there's a material that I use in my normal job. It's a 3M 5200. It's a sealant, like a caulking, that's used for marine applications. We use it to seal 2 components that go together that need to maintain a vacuum seal. So it's really strong stuff. It's about $25 a tube, so it's not cheap, but I'm actually going to hit all the windows with that to make sure it's nice and sealed, because I do have a couple of little leaks. The bus isn't sitting level right now, and it's letting water drain down the cracks of the windows into the bus. And it's minimal, but it's one of those things where over time it's going to create a lot of problems. So task for today is I'm going to hit all those windows. If I have enough time, I'm going to be putting in the ceiling fans. So we'll see how this goes. So I didn't get a chance to get to the ceiling fans. I wanted to make sure all the windows were sealed up. It ended up taking me a lot longer than I thought. So now it's super rainy, really windy out. Life of living on the island in Washington. Always dealing with wind and random rainstorms. So not going to really be working on the roof like this. So May start doing the insulation on the floor. We'll see.
You didn't bring any out here?
You want some?
Yeah, and then do you have any water?
I got the subfloor in yesterday. Plan today, I was gonna go do Easter dinner with somebody. Then they started talking about all the family drama that was gonna go on, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna pass. So I'm gonna try to get the fans in today. I was trying to do that last week, but we keep running into problems. I say we, I mean me. So yeah, I'll see if I can get them in today. Yeah, so I ran into a problem with the screws. Basically I have 1.75 inches of material that I need to screw through, and then it has to go through the metal floor. So I went and got self-tapping metal screws, and there is very limited options on something that long. So I grabbed these, which are the perfect length. Problem is that the cutting tip is really weak. So what's happening is I'm getting through the wood, I'm getting through the foam. By the time I get to the metal, it starts to grab and then it breaks. So I was just going through a lot of screws because they just kept breaking. So then I was like, okay, I'll drill pilot holes. So I'm drilling pilot holes, and then I broke 3 drill bits, and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna take forever. So I went and bought these beefy self-tapping screws. Problem is, I don't know if you can see, the threads only go to here, and I didn't really pay attention to that when I bought them. So these things cut through the metal like butter, but then the foam and the wood are where the threads are, and this just spins in the metal. So again, a waste of screws that, whatever. So now I'm back to these, and yeah, after throwing away probably at least every other screw, and going through, I think, like 4 or 5 batteries on my drill motor, or my impact, whatever you want to call it, I decided to call it a day on screwing wood. But at least it's cut, it's where it's supposed to be at. And I'm just gonna pick away at that during the rest of the week. Hopefully on Friday, I'll just move on to the next project, which will probably be starting the infrastructure of the bus. So building the garage, which is going to be the storage area for like the solar components, water storage, and plus extra storage for tools and things like that. So that's probably where I'll go with it, because I think I have all the components that I need for at least the electrical, minus the wiring, like the actual wire. And I wanted to wait till everything was where it was going to be before I ordered the wire, because with building costs going the way that they are, I just don't want to buy a bunch of wire that I'm not going to end up using. So I want to try to get it down to as close as I can to the level that it's supposed to be at. But yeah, that's bus life so far. Thanks for watching.